Ladies and gentlemen, I have some unfortunate news to announce. One of our proud hosts of the Manga Alert Nation, Taz, has stepped down from his position. I'd like to dedicate this time to everyone who tuned in to listen to what Taz had to say, all the brilliant points that he had to say, and all the wonderful guests that he brought onto the podcast. Please take a moment of silence to enjoy this memoriam that we have prepared for Taz. Thank you.
I hurt myself today to see if I still feel. I focus on the pain, the only thing that's real. The needle tears a hole, the old familiar sting, trying to kill it all away. But I remember everything. I was on this ecchi harem anime binge.
I know where this is going.
And
Freaking perv.
do you guys believe that light was actually justice?
No. For in the coming season of this year.
High School
For anime and
DD,
manga.
High School DD manga volume 10.
Calm down, boy.
What have I become? My sweetest friend. Everyone I know goes away in the end. You could have it all. My empire of dirt. I won't let you down. I will make you hurt. The sky would star so bright, the colors feel so right. I've never felt like this, I keep on burning. The sky would star so bright, the colors feel so right. Just take my hand, we're gonna reach for the stars tonight.
And welcome back, guys. That was some of the best segments that we had ever showcased on Taz. I have you know
I'm
that
gonna miss him.
we here at Manga Alert will dearly miss our friend Taz.
I never met the guy.
And, yeah. Anyways, in more recent news, welcome to the Manga Alert podcast. I am your host, Old Shaman. Joining me today, we have Shrug Pod for the first time as one of our guest hosts, and of course, the wonderful and brilliant Gear Third Manga.
Hey.
Go ahead, guys. Introduce yourselves.
Hello.
Alrighty. Proud opening monologues from both of you guys. I was very proud of that.
I'd just
So-
like to say, this podcast is sponsored by Dragon Ball, a series that if it had come out today, it would have been canceled after 2 chapters.
Oh yeah, that and One Piece as well.
Yeah.
Don't forget that, which today we're actually going to be talking about that with One Piece New World.
Part 2!
Some of the stuff that we could not cover in the last part due to the fact that One Piece is such a large series, but, would have been canceled today if it would have, started off the way it did, so...
Yeah, and because we spent like 30 minutes of the last one talking about the Foxy Pirates.
But before we get into the One Piece cast, I would just like to take another second to have Shrug maybe talk about his channel and what he likes to do here in the manga community. So Shrug, go ahead and kind of introduce our audience to what you do here in the manga community.
I basically make a bunch of trash reviews, and I just make a big fool of myself as I talk about these backwards Japanese comic books that I spend way too much money on.
Well said.
Same.
Beautiful. Anyways, New World. So, what do you guys think about the first arc in New World? And that is the return to Sapodi. Sapodi? Zabodi.
Sabodi.
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 I don't fucking know how you say it.
Sabodi.
Sabouty.
Sabouty. We get to see all the wonderful Straw Hats again after the Shonen's 2-year time skips that they love to do. It was Shonen always has to have a time skip, so
Oh yeah, for sure.
any great series must.
Yeah, but it's interesting because like this was because like we had only really been with Luffy for like 10 volumes or something. Like it had been a while since we had seen everyone else.
Mhm.
So yeah.
I think the most disappointed thing I was about New World was the character designs. Let's just say I get that characters have to age over the course of 2 years, but for the case of Nami, like, I don't know how anyone
She's
could go
lost
from
clothing.
just that to that. Like, there's just such a huge gap between the 2-year time
Yeah.
skip. Like, Luffy has not changed at all. He looks exactly the same
No.
as he did 2 years
Yeah.
Same
prior.
with Chopper.
Chopper looks, I think, younger, if
I
anything,
think
in New
He
World.
has a new hat.
Um,
Zoro
Zoro got
Has anybody been like bothered by Chopper's hat? How it's like it looks like the exact same, but just like it just has a circle on top of that.
I mean, I'm not.
I like Chopper's old hat.
I
better.
prefer his old design, to be honest. I prefer his old
Yeah.
look as well, but
I think I like Usopp's new look a bit better, but also I don't
yeah,
like Usopp. in
I'm not a
general,
big
so.
fan of Usopp, so it's like I don't like
No.
him anyway. So you know,
Yeah.
naturally. Zoro, I was a little like disappointed with. Like, he basically got a cut eyelid and started wearing baggy shorts, and that's about it. Like,
I mean,
Frankie goes bald.
Sanji grew
got a new hairstyle.
He grew a beard and, shitty beard and a shitty mustache, and that's about it.
Didn't never quit smoking.
Yeah, never quit smoking, kids.
Oh no.
Yeah, I don't know. The new designs, I'm not really a fan of. That was one of the first things that I was just super disappointed about when we were being reintroduced to these characters that we had not seen in over 10 volumes, as you were saying earlier, Gear.
I mean, I was already like spoiled on their designs from the New World,
Mhm.
so like it wasn't really that big a deal for me.
Yeah.
I guess.
I
I didn't expect there to be like a huge difference from like what I was like. I didn't think there was gonna be like a huge difference other than like probably like a few scars and like
Yeah.
And you
Everybody's
know,
right.
You would think, because I mean, they're all adults, so like you don't really expect them to look that different after 2 years.
but Robin, what the fuck happened there? Let's talk about that. I mean, she went through... Like, she just doesn't even look like her original concept of a One Piece character, which is why I'm just like...
extra puberty.
I was like, well, extra puberty, I don't know if that entails, like, a whole, like, skin color transformation, you know what I mean? Like, it's just...
I can't wait for that to happen in the live action
It's
series.
weird. Like, I don't understand, like, what Oda was exactly doing, maybe, with the design for Robin. Maybe he was just trying to go for a different look, possibly, but... It's definitely different in the 2-year time span, and I'd be okay with like a character like Luffy, and I think definitely like Luffy's probably the most I guess I'm trying to find the word for it. He looks more aged in the 2 years, like he's aged appropriately in the 2-year time skip.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way. Like, he doesn't look like he underwent any sort of dramatic transformation or anything like that.
Facial surgery.
He looks the same, but also at the same time, you can tell that he maybe matured a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, in conclusion to that whole argument about the new designs, I don't like it. It's not something I'm like head over heels over, but
It's not like a deal
I'm not
breaker.
gonna put down One Piece just because of that. But now let's go ahead and get into it.
Better than the Bleach redesigns.
Anyways, so one of the first arcs in New World to take place, of course, the long-awaited encounter with Fishman Island, which was talked way, way back in East Blue, and
Oh yeah.
this arc was sort of a I don't know. It was a little weird. I don't know if I liked it as a introduction arc to One Piece.
Well, the thing about, like, you're all hyped up for the New World,
Mhm.
but then they don't actually go to the New World for, like, 6 volumes. or so.
Well, yeah, it takes place in Fishman Island for a majority.
Right, you know
of
this
that.
new world that we've been hyping up for a really long time. Let's take some more time to get to the new world. All right, guys,
Yeah.
we got to take it a little bit slower.
Which is why I would have wished they would have just called this its own separate arc in its own entirety. Like, I
Yeah.
wouldn't have called it New World, but... It's just me.
And like the thing, like I get the point of Fishman, and it's sort of just to get us back into the groove with all the Straw Hats, and show how much powerful they were. But I feel like the arc was just a bit too long for them to do that, because like there's no real threat. Like they beat the shit out of all the villains pretty easily.
We do get sort of a closing. We get closure to Nami's storyline, which is what I like. It's one of the moments that I enjoyed in the story arc. I was happy that we finally got to talk about Jinbei as well as the Sun Pirates, and finally how Arlong made it to the East Blue, which kind of wraps up that whole storyline. It gives closure, and everyone's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, Nami had a rough life and all that stuff." So that was interesting. A few moments in this arc, I was actually really anxious to see. The re-encounter with Luffy and Jinbei was cool. The fights in this arc, I'm not really keen about. They were okay, but it was like a villain that was not going to win to begin with. It was just sort of written in there.
Yeah.
Like, you knew the Straw Hats were going to basically have an easy time with the fight going on. So,
I mean, I think it was just like, I think the main reason, like, as Gear said, it was just like to show off. And the final fight I thought was honestly not that bad because it showed off like Luffy's like new like hockey and stuff, and so I thought that was pretty cool.
The problem I have though is with Horty, who is the main villain in this story arc.
Oh
and
yeah,
he's already not only weak from the start, but he has the one pill, or the pills that basically increase his strength that he takes throughout the entirety of the story arc. And even with those, I mean, he's not really a formidable opponent. I mean, Luffy still makes chump change out of this guy, like easily. And I get maybe it's just Oda was maybe servicing this sort of brief introduction into New World as a way to show the strength of the characters as well as the development. But even then, like, characters are still weak. Like, Nami is not really strong. Chopper's not really a formidable opponent. Usopp doesn't really get his abilities until a lot later in New World, so he's still sort of the same as he was from the beginning. And
He just has new bullets.
well, that of course. And then Luffy and Zoro and Sanji are sort of like the three front runners. The main strong three people on the Straw Hat crew. And I mean, I guess there's Robin, but she. Not only did she have very few lines to say in the original like kind of beginning of One Piece, but she really has nothing to say in New World. Like she has barely any sort of panel time in the manga with New World. It's sort of sad. It's almost like she's not even there. She kind of took a back seat in this story.
There's just when you have 10 main characters, it can kind of get a bit like
overwhelming, maybe.
Yeah,
I suppose.
That's why I feel like, I mean, later on, I mean, we don't have... I think that's why Oda's kind of, like, currently, like, as of right now, splitting all them up so he can add more, like, screen time to, like, what was kind of lost in New World, like, the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I guess we can talk about that more when we get to it. But do you guys remember there was this really dumb scene at the beginning of Fishman Island where, like, Sanji gets a nosebleed, and it's so bad that he needs, like, a blood transfusion?
Yeah,
And it's an actual, like, part of the plot.
That was a moment that I was just kind of like, oh, this is going to be a long start to One Piece already. I remember reading and watching that scene, and it was just like, ugh.
Yeah. Oh, geez, in the anime, they probably stretched it out to 5 episodes.
Yeah, no,
it was rough.
Just getting to Fishman Island took, I think, 10 episodes just to get to Fishman Island. That's how bad
it took about like 7 to 10 episodes for them to like finally get underwater, and then it took them like another 7.
What
to,
did
like,
they
get to
do
the
in that amount of time?
I think at that
How did
point,
they fill?
it wasn't until like Punk Hazard when I dropped the anime finally, just because the quality was starting to kind of deteriorate. But it was a rough patch for me. I don't know. It was tough, but I think we got to kind of move forward with Fishman Island. Let's just say this: it's basically a reintroduction to the characters that we know and loved in the first 1 through 60 volumes of One Piece. Let's just put it that way. It's reintroducing and giving a fresh kind of new look to the series, just like any other typical shonen time skip. Shows maybe the age and the maturity as well as the strength to our characters. And the main villain, while I didn't really necessarily like him as a character, did a decent job of reintroducing the strength of the Straw Hats into the One Piece universe. So I'd give it a 5, 6 out of 10. It was an average One Piece story arc, above average, slightly above average. Wasn't my favorite, and it's definitely not the worst One Piece story arc. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I'd probably give it around a 6 or maybe like 6.5. Like, I mean, it's not bad, but and another thing, like Paramount War just happened, like the fucking craziest thing in the series. And
Expectations are just so high because everyone's so anxious to see New World, and we don't see that.
Kind of like Thriller back.
We don't see New World until about 6 volumes in, so it's like the hype is there. But the execution is not done properly, and so maybe that's what I was left feeling a little down. Shrug, what do you think? Would you rate this story arc?
I probably would give it a 7 out of 10, just because I really like the introduction, like on in Sabaody when they came back. I really just like the introduction of how like everybody just like came together, but that was like a real big high point to me. But the rest of it was just, like you guys said, average, and I think it's average too.
All right, so what do we move on to next? Punk Hazard?
Punk Hazard.
But you forgot about the filler arc where Luffy turns into a giant.
That's anime. This is manga alert. We don't talk about that.
This is manga.
That's my favorite manga.
There's a filler arc where Luffy turns into a giant. What?
It's like right after they get up from Fisherman Island, they meet this like, I think it's like another mermaid and this fish man. Maybe I'm getting wrong, but they like run into this one marine, and they're fighting in the middle of the ocean on like this really small thing of rocks, and then Luffy like turns into a giant, grows some horns, pounds the crap out of this guy, and then they're on the Punk Hazard.
What the fuck?
It's like
terrible.
3 episodes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it probably has better pacing than most of the series.
Well, maybe.
10 out of 10 pacing.
I heard 10 out of 10 pesos. What?
You're right.
Anyways, Punk Hazard.
Punk Hazard.
As much as I enjoyed the story arc, it was a long one, but I can't really remember it too vividly. Does anyone here remember it super vividly?
That's the thing. I did really enjoy it, but it didn't really stand out to me all that much. I don't think. It's weird trying to remember it. But I remember I really liked how they set up the island and how it was half fire, half ice because Aokiji and Akainu went at it. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's another sort of, once again, I mean, Oda kills it when it comes to world building. I mean, over the course...
a lot happens in between those 2 years.
In the 2 year, in the 2 year skip, I mean, we find out that not only Aokiji has left the Marines, but I think they also confirm that he sort of goes to the Blackbeard Pirates. I don't know if that's a thing, or if that's ever established in Punk Hazard, but I remember the fight pretty much being talked about throughout the story arc. We get reintroduced to Smoker, which his redesign is okay. I mean, he looks more or less the same, but he is still, a really cool character. I really enjoyed Smoker in the first arcs of One Piece, even though he wasn't really around that much. He was just kind of there for comedic relief. But in this arc, they kind of do a really weird sort of gender swap thing, and it's, again, I feel Smoker and Tashiki, I think is their name, right?
Tashigi.
They're there for really comedy, for lighthearted moments. I feel like that's really why they're there, because it seems like every time they're ever in one of the arcs, even in Alabasta, all the way back there, the whole introduction to
they're never really serious
introduction
threats.
to Ace and everything like that. It was just kind of like a joke, So in this story arc, they're also sort of made out to be a little bit of a joke. It'd be like, oh, well, what if Smoker was in Tashiki's body, and what if Tashiki was in Smoker's body? Oh.
Yeah, that's one thing I forgot about, the whole body swapping thing.
And then, I mean, for Smoker, it's always the recurring thing that Smoker can never kill Luffy because somebody always gets in the way. Yeah. And so I feel that they were just like Oda was all still after 2 years, we're up to the same old shenanigans.
It's Oda's.
And because this time there was a greater threat that they had to deal with.
Yeah. Which I can't even remember for the life of me whose name it is.
Caesar Clown.
Yeah, and the whole
CC.
the whole the most standout villain to me is I guess really Monette, and I don't know. For me, that was a decent fight.
Oh, that was.
I really enjoyed her Devil Fruit ability, even though it was basically a discounted version of Alkaji. It was just basically a weaker form of Alkaji's ice power, where it was just being able to create snow and not ice. So, I enjoyed the fight, but her character was really short-lived. It's very rare when characters in One Piece, die, because Straw Hats aren't all about, killing their villain counterparts off. So, it's pretty shocking, some of the stuff that does occur in Punk Hazard. I wish I could talk about it more. I can't really remember too many moments. I should have done a little bit of
Law.
Oh yeah, the whole
I'm
team up.
Oh, Law.
The Luffy and Law sort of alliance, I guess you can say, was a pretty staple moment. There are a lot of Law fans out there. I'm myself not really a Law fan. He's okay.
I like it. He's not one of my favorite characters, but I enjoy him. Well, I think what I liked about Punk Hazard more was just like how it set up more of the future. Like they talked a lot about Dressrosa and the alliance that they formed and stuff. So
And like who they're going after.
And like they finally make it to the New World, so it's just exciting to see. But yeah, like Caesar Clown, not one of my favorite villains. I didn't really.
Devil Fruits were pretty cool in this arc. Like I said, there's a Caesar. I think has the poison ability. Correct? It's the
Yeah, it's kind of like a poison cloud.
Yeah, so it's basically the Magellan's Devil Fruit, except worse.
But
I guess the theme of this arc is to have like discounted Devil Fruits that are like weaker abilities compared to some of these other guys. Anyways, some nice character introductions. The whole Law and Luffy relationship gets strengthened a little bit here. Law this time around, I think in this current point in the story, is considered to be one of the warlords. Of course, that doesn't last very long. He ends up quickly, sort of leaving that behind. So
yeah,
and we get some more Luffy action and more Straw Hat character building, I guess. And their bounties go up.
Oh yeah, they got Kinemon too. Forgot about him.
Yeah. And his son, he turns into a dragon.
Yeah.
Good times. I don't know if I want to properly give this arc a rating. I really don't.
Weird one.
I don't remember it very vividly, so it's like I remember reading it and then like enjoying it at the time, and then I just sort of forgot about it. Maybe it's just It's been a while. It's been a while since that arc even really happened. That was like 4 or 5 years ago. Jeez.
Yeah.
Hard to believe it's that old.
So yeah, I personally remember it pretty well. I remember the scene of where Robin, Luffy, Usopp, and Zoro are like coming across from the fire island. They're really cold because they had to swim across, and they get there and they whoop the crap out of these guys because they have jackets on, and they just leave them out there to die in the cold. That's about it.
And there was something to do with like giant children, but whatever.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, they were like feeding them drugs, and like Caesar was all like, "Let's you got to keep them stable," and so we have to feed them drugs, and then if they don't get their fix, then they like go bonkers.
Well,
Nice.
I remember the beginning and the end of Punk Hazard, and that's about all I remember. So,
And that's all that matters.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
yeah, like the Baby 5 fight with Frankie was about all you need.
Yeah. Let's see. I guess I'd give this is your taste of the New World. So I would say probably about an 8 out of 10 for me for this story arc. It was good. It was solid. Whether or not I can't really remember it too vividly in the middle, I definitely remember the beginning and as well as the end. So
You got to watch all 60 episodes of Punk Hazard.
oh
in the
yeah.
anime.
Oh, don't even get me started on Dressrosa. We'll be getting to that here in a second. But yeah. I'd give it an 8.
Yeah, that sounds about right for me too. I mean, shrug.
I think I'd probably give it a 7.5.
There you go.
Okay, lowering the score. That's all right.
Hater.
Hater. Anyways,
there's some
Dressrosa.
relevance in it, too.
Oh boy.
This is the long-awaited setup fight between Luffy and Doflamingo, and once again we get a really nice backstory. So once again we kind of get the whole establishment of the Law and Luffy alliance in the beginning of Punk Hazard, and that sort of carries its way over into Dressrosa. So,
but it's also worth mentioning that like half of the Straw Hats peace out.
for a brief amount
yeah.
of time.
Well, yeah, like I after like a couple volumes, they all like half of them leave to
Yeah.
go on to Zoe.
Yeah, but let's not talk about Zoe because that's a piece of shit. Let's talk about Dressrosa.
Not yet.
Dressrosa is basically going to be your sort of tournament arc in One Piece, which you would have thought that this would be one of the, the Foxy Pirate arc was such a great tournament arc. How could we possibly top the Foxy Pirate arc? Well, we do Dressrosa.
I mean,
And we introduce you to wonderful characters that have devil fruit powers and abilities that create portals and even take off jackets. Like that's such a great ability. I can't even that to me is one of the best devil fruits out there. So
Oh yeah.
I mean,
in all seriousness,
everyone
Speaking
has
of
that
devil
devil fruit
fruits,
ability.
oh shit, they have Ace's devil fruit. And,
yes.
oh no!
This is the grand prize in Doflamingo's tournament, and that is the winner gets Ace's Devil Fruit. And what we later find out, which in my opinion was a little bit of a deus ex machina, and that is the reintroduction to Sabo, who we all thought was dead. And
Rip.
I guess Gear can
Spoiler.
speak better for this because he's more of a Sabo fan than I am, but a lot of people felt this was a heartfelt moment between Luffy and Sabo. I could have cared less because I'm not really a Sabo fan, but...
Yeah, like, I mean, it was really crazy, like, when it first happened, because, we think he's dead and stuff. But, like, at the time, we really didn't know much about Sabo. We only had, like, a short bit of time with him, like, the backstory when he was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's cool. I like him. But, like...
So it's been about, like, 20 plus volumes since you've actually heard, like, any mention of Sabo. And so you're just kind of like, oh, yeah.
That's the other thing. Like, he showed up around, like, volume 60 or something. He doesn't show up till, like, 73. So that's, like, almost 3 years of chapters with no mention of him. So
Yeah.
it was pretty surprising when it first happened.
But
for some reason, I was never...
in response to that, Gear, though.
I don't think...
In response to that, Gear, and sorry to cut you off,
Oh, yeah.
Oda does that. That's his writing style. I mean,
yeah,
he introduces
that's true.
these characters super early on in the story, and then he doesn't talk about
Yeah.
them for a long amount of time. And I think maybe that's
Yeah.
the impact that a lot of people have with these characters, is because
Yeah.
people really love these characters that we get so short introductions to,
Mm-hmm.
and then we finally get that, all that story. Like I said, even with the continuing of the Fishman Island arc, and I'm kind of backtracking here, but we finally get closure to Nami's storyline, which spanned Jesus, like that was back in East
Like
Blue.
the whole series.
So we finally get closure to that, and that's
yeah.
that.
It was like
Basically,
volume
what my
10.
point is that Oda waits to kind of do those
Oh,
big
yeah.
introductions, and when he does do them, a lot of people they fanboy or fangirl over because it's like, oh my god, we haven't even heard from this character in so long, and so maybe that was the impact of Sabo's reintroduction. Anyways, you can now finish your point. Sorry for cutting you off.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, okay. I was spoiled on Sabo coming back, but it was like right before I read the part, so I was kind of disappointed. But yeah, no, I liked it. I hope to see more of Sabo in the future though, because again, we didn't really see much of him.
Mm-hmm. Well, we saw his performance,
Yeah.
and of course, in this arc, he cliche enough, he ends up getting Ace's Devil Fruit, so he kind of.
Got him.
So now you can have some really disgusting metaphorical, my brother is now inside of me, and
Do with
Yes,
that what you
anyway.
will.
Oh my
But
God.
what I really loved about Dressrosa is not only the Doflamingo fight, but the Law and Dofi backstory. I loved.
Oh man.
I loved it.
Oh,
I love
so
this
good.
moment in. It's been a while since I've had sort of that emotional connection to a character, but Dofi is
Yeah.
one of I think I would consider him top 25 favorite One Piece characters of all time, which is easy
yeah.
to say because there's a lot of great characters in One Piece. So,
Yeah.
Dofi and Law's story and how
Yeah,
they sort of
like Foxy.
interacted and how Law sort of was introduced to the Doflamingo bloodline and all that stuff. These guys, Doflamingo and Dofi, they had a fucked up, childhood. And in this story, we sort of get that whole expression. Not only do we get what's the Marine, the former Marine fleet admiral, what was his name?
Sengoku.
Sengoku. He's also kind of a big role in this story arc, and I don't know about you guys, but I love the Marines somewhat more than the Pirates, just because the three admirals during the battle for Marineford were just so great. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Kizaru, Aokiji, and even Akainu. I mean, he's a fucking asshole, but he is still a really cool character.
Yeah, and we get
So-
Fujitora in this one.
So we get the introduction to one of the admirals that
The new one.
replaced Aokiji, and the other Green Bull, which again we still have not seen to this day. At least I don't think we have. We haven't got any sort of introduction to Green Bull, have we?
We might have. You never know. Or there will be like in 20 volumes. They'll be like, "Hey, remember that guy?"
Yeah,
showed
we
us
got
silhouette
a
of him,
brief
swoop,
glimpse
you
and a
forgot
mention
about
of him in the story arc about how Green Bull was like. It's all speculation, but they're saying that he's not a devil fruit user. So
I think Foxy mentioned him. That's it. Yeah.
Anyways, really awesome moment. I'm not going to spoil too much, even though we are doing spoilers in this cast. I would like, if you guys haven't read this One Piece story arc, though, it is really good. Like the bits with Law and Dofi are super good.
The one thing, if I had a big flaw with Dressrosa, is that I think it just went on for a bit too long, or that like it was a little.
It waits a long time for it to get good, but when it gets to the
Yeah.
point where we get the Dofi backstory and we finally get the battle between Luffy and Doflamingo, which was a fight waiting to happen.
It was definitely worth waiting for.
The fact
Gear 4.
the fact that Doflamingo was, he was mentioned all the way back in the beginning of Skypiea, and how he was just like this powerful kind of mob boss dude who basically treated all of his, minions like shit. It's like a nice sense of justice, but also a really well done fight compared to the fight with Hordy in Fishman Island, which was just sort of a joke. This is definitely a fight where Luffy does need to power up to win, or else, he would have gotten his ass kicked. And really, it was a 50-50 fight. I don't think anyone really won this fight.
No, I mean,
There wasn't necessarily, there was a clear victor, but it was a close call. Anyone could have really finished this battle. And this takes me back to the days when Luffy first fought Crocodile for the first time. Crocodile, definitely had a higher edge on Luffy, being that he had hockey experience as well as he had devil fruit experience. Luffy, not so much, but because he found a weakness in him, then that was the key to his victory, and as well his impending death, which he got poisoned, but he ended up getting saved. So, anyways, I derailed too much. Dressrosa, I would rate a 9 out of 10. The slow introduction, and maybe I'm overrating it a little bit, but the slow introduction was well worth it. I would say it was well worth it. So 9 out of 10 for me.
I'd probably give it an 8 just because I found the slow introduction just a little bit. Like I remember like when it took me a while to like fully get into it. I was reading it pretty slowly, but like the last half of the arc I just loved. So, but yeah, I'd probably rate it around an 8 out of 10. Yeah, definitely in my favorite part of New World so far.
I have to give it a 7 out of 10.
Hey there.
Just
again.
because, well, I mean, for me, I felt like they was trying to be like the next Enies Lobby, and I personally really love Enies Lobby.
Oh yeah.
And I was just all
as
like,
do we
I
all.
felt like that it was just like for so long that it was trying to be that, and to me, it just didn't meet my expectations. It had good moments,
Right.
but it wasn't as like, this is one of the longer arcs in One Piece, and I was just all like,
Yeah, it's
I think this
10.
is actually the longest arc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm sort of fanboying it here because I just really love Dofi as a character. I think he is one of my favorites, and it's when you sort of pick favorites in a story arc, you sort of overpraise it for what it is. But I'm not trying to blind it. It definitely has its faults. The introduction in the beginning of the story arc is just sort of lame and like boring.
Yeah.
Like it focuses a lot on comedy and like, oh, look at me, I'm Luffy and I'm wearing a fake mustache with a fake name.
Oh my god.
And God Usopp is worth well over 11 million berries or 11 billion berries or something crazy like that.
Yeah, he's got he's like as worth as much as, or more than Sanji, I think, at this point.
Yeah, and like I hate Usopp. I think he's a stupid character, but see people that love Usopp, probably loved moments like that in Dressrosa. So You know, I mean, I still stand by the 9 just because I loved the finale of Dressrosa. But, you know, 7 out of 10, that's still a good score. I mean, it's not bad by any means.
Also, Shrug, it's
yeah.
funny how you mentioned that it was similar to, or they tried to be Enies Law, because they do the same thing on the volumes, where they'll have like one volume that just shows all the villains, and the next volume all the Straw Hats, and like they're facing off and the covers match. I like it when they do that.
Wasn't
it's like
that though early on?
They did that in
though?
Baroque.
Yeah, that
Works.
was Baroque Works.
Yeah, they did that in Baroque Works.
Well, yeah, but then
Ennis
they also
Lobby
did it for
and-
Enies Lobby and Dressrosa.
I never noticed that on Ennis Lobby.
I don't think they aren't like facing each other, but it's like it's like the same. The covers
Oh,
go together.
you're talking about the one scene when they're like standing on the the wall and they're like all kind of facing the Marine flag. Are you talking about that?
No, it's like on the volume covers for like 21 and 22, and then I think it's like 43 and 44, and then
I got
77
my
and
One Piece
78.
volumes right here.
Yeah, look at 77 and 78, and it's like they got both the sides like staring each other down or some shit.
So yeah, they got
Yeah, it's like
Zoro, Luffy, and I think what's that? Usopp? Oh no, Sanji.
Yeah,
Sanji,
it's got all
that's-
the Dressrosa
yeah,
fighters.
gotcha. Okay. All right, I see it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just a cool little design.
But anyways, yes,
Yeah,
Dressrosa.
Cool shit.
It was good. All right, moving on.
Good.
What do we got? Zone.
Zo!
Good.
Oh yeah. Okay,
Zoe.
moving on from Zoe. The
Zoe takes me back.
Sanji.
No, we gotta talk about Zo,
Mm.
your favorite arc.
Listen now, Zoe is a special place in my heart.
Fucking furry.
Just kidding. Hey, quit that now.
Honestly, for me, Zo is just too short. I really don't care about it that much. Like, I was like, hey, alright, interesting.
It put in major things, but it wasn't like that big of a deal.
It was like a side detour. Like it's honestly an arc that didn't need to happen. It was just like
Aside
it's
from
there.
like the ending where they're just like, oh hey, we're one step closer to finding the One Piece. Only 10 more years to go. But yeah, it really was just like a transition into the whole cake stuff, because like, oh my god, Sanji is missing.
Mm-hmm.
They do that really dumb cliffhanger where Nami comes up and she's crying. She's like, Luffy, Sanji is. And
Oh
then the
my
chapter
god!
just
Yeah,
ends.
no.
I hate it when stuff like that happens, because you know he's obviously not dead if they end it like that.
Well,
It's
no. I
just-
mean, we even get a key into this with the whole like wanted alive. Not dead. So
And that, but then you'll have like for Neverworld and Double Four doing their OMG Sanji is dead videos.
bad speculation.
OMG.
Oh my god.
But yeah,
Well,
Zone.
I mean,
1 out of 10.
It's just Zoe.
Didn't need to happen.
1 out of 10.
Zoe
Oh, no,
Zone. We get an introduction to like really shitty Zone type Devil Fruit users, which
Hey, Pedro, my boy, R.I.P. We'll talk about that later, I guess.
what is it? Who's the
Oh,
one?
no.
Who's one of the big
Carrot.
big faces in Zoe? It's who's part
Carrot.
of the Blackbeard pirate, or not Blackbeard. Kaijo.
Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jack.
Jack.
Oh, we also
what
get
a
to see Kaido for the first
what
time.
a what a
Like,
joke! Like the fact that he gets taken down so
1 billion
yeah.
berries and he gets
Yeah, no.
yeah.
This is sort of
Ah.
when the berry prices are just like,
Yeah.
are they really justified properly for the
Yeah,
threat?
they're
And-
like power levels in Dragon Ball now.
yeah, I mean, it's like,
But to be fair, didn't Jack get like crushed by like all of the giant Zoe elephant?
yeah. Whatever. This arc was such a disaster. I mean, it introduced a lot of cool people, and then all of a sudden it's just like, yep.
Yeah.
No.
Is Carrot not your favorite character?
No, she's annoying.
honestly,
haters.
I honestly didn't really have a problem with Zoe. It was just sort of there, and it was short, so I didn't really care. So I'm
No,
like,
I consider
"Alright,
this
that-
up to par
damn."
with the Foxy Pirate arc. I hated it.
Damn.
I hated it.
Ooh.
Wait, you hated the Davy Back fights? What's
Yeah,
wrong
no,
with you?
Afro Luffy didn't get enough screen time, so automatic negative 2 out of 10, for me. So
Ooh.
Ah, that's a shame.
Anyway. Oh, Shrug, do your rating for Zoe.
I mean, I'm not gonna give it like. I don't think I'm gonna give it a rating because honestly, it was too short for me to like justify it properly, and so
Yeah, you give,
I think
yeah,
that it
you
was
give
good.
the Foxy a 10 out of 10.
You
You're
just got
right.
backed up into a
That's not the
corner,
point
man.
here.
You got to give it a score.
All right, you want me to give it a score?
Sure.
I'm gonna give it a an armadillo out of 15.
Well, we'll end it at that. Anyways, moving on. Cake Island.
Whole Cake Island, which is still going on, but I'm
Holy
pretty sure it's about
Cake
to
Island.
end.
This is sort of the
think.
same case as Dressrosa for me. There's some really good moments in this arc,
Mhm.
but there's a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of just slow development. When we finally
Yeah,
when we finally get introduced to Sanji's story, and this has definitely been a backstory that's been in the making, because everyone just sort of
Oh, yeah.
assumed that Sanji was just some adopted kid on a boat who was found by
Yeah.
Chef Zeph, and then they lived happily ever
Yeah.
after. And
It's like, nope.
Nope, Sanji was royalty all along, and he ended up having like 5 other brothers and sisters, and they're all in royalty.
And a really shitty dad.
And of course, just like every character in One Piece, everyone's dad is a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah. Oh man.
Now personally, Sanji, I'm gonna pull a shaman card on this one. Sanji's my favorite character in One Piece, so I typically like this arc
Okay.
really well.
Yeah, but it wasn't just that. Like, I really loved like the wedding and how they were trying to plan like the whatever the fucking assassination. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
they were gonna assassinate Sanji.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no, I liked all the planning for that and stuff. Even though the plan went to shit, I really enjoyed that stuff. But like
Yeah.
like the stuff in the woods,
Mhm.
I was like, ew, get out of here. I just waited for that part to end. I waited
Yeah.
months and then like came
Big
back.
Bag Gear 4.
Also, I love how, like, with Sanji and Luffy, like, they have, like, a little spat and Sanji kicks him or something.
They
And
were trying really hard to be like Ennis Lobby in that segment. Like, I don't want you to come with me. I'm leaving the crew.
Yeah.
Goodbye. And Luffy,
It's like, oh, shut up.
Luffy's
No, you're
throwing a
not.
temper tantrum.
No,
He's like, I'm not gonna eat anything, and this is not Sanji's food. And then, yeah, it's like there's like 10 chapters.
But it was just,
of him
like, a small
starving to
thing,
death.
right? And I loved how the anime, like, turned this into, like, a major event. Like, Luffy versus Sanji. Like, the poster Crunchyroll has for One Piece is Sanji and Luffy fighting. And it's incredible.
See, I thought it was going to be like them animating like 2 or 3 chapters, but then I had read more into it and I was all like, oh no, it's just that they're taking the full chapter of Luffy and Sanji fighting and turning it into an hour. Great.
It wasn't even a fight.
It was a joke. I mean, honestly. But as for any of the other moments in the story arc,
Big Mom's backstory. That was kind of fun.
yeah. Well, I was kind of surprised that. Well, I guess it only makes sense because she is a giant. So I mean, she's from Elbath, which
Yeah.
Feed me.
But I mean, she like eats all of her friends. Like, ooh, okay.
super crazy. I mean,
Yummy.
no, Big Mom is effed in the head because not only does she she kills her own kids. So I mean, just think about it that way. I mean, the fact that she is just such a how would Donald Trump say
She's
it?
a
She's a
cannibal.
nasty woman. that would be what I would say.
Mhm.
Oh wow.
Nasty
She's a
woman.
nasty woman.
She's a scandalous
Cake
woman.
Island is
Donald.
still going, so this will be one of the arcs that we don't really
Yeah.
grade in this story arc. If we ever do a One Piece
Um,
Part 3 a little later on down the road, and by later on I mean really later on down the road,
Like in 10 years, we'll all be moved on from YouTube, but we'll
be like, One
reunite
Piece,
the
what are
Straw Hats
those?
did.
One piece of what?
Of crap?
Oh?
Well, that's what Blair would say. What else? Yeah.
That would be-
Oh yeah,
no,
Pedro died. Oh no.
Oh no!
Ripperoni,
No.
not Pedro. My favorite
No, I
character.
barely remembered him from the really shitty story arc he was introduced in. Oh, no.
When did he get introduced, actually?
He was in Zoe or
Foxy,
something else.
he was in the Foxy Pirate arc. He was in the background. You could see him. Just
Yeah.
like, hey, look at me.
The big Pedro.
Where all
reveal.
great characters came
Of
from.
course.
But yeah, at first I didn't think Pedro was dead, but now I sort of think he is. But I also don't care.
Nope, neither do I.
Also, is Jinbei sort of joined the crew? I still don't like. Is he?
So
Is it official?
I don't know if
think-
he's
and this is
actually
speculation.
there.
I don't think Jinbei. I think Jinbei's gonna die at the end of this arc.
Yeah. Honestly,
As much as I
see
don't,
Jinbei dying.
as much as I don't want that to
Yeah,
happen,
I
it's-
love Jinbei, but
I think they're gonna do it. I think they're gonna
Yeah.
pull a
I
ace
also-
with Jinbei, and I'm gonna be sad, and I'm gonna be fucking pissed at the next Straw Hat. It's probably some piece of shit character that doesn't deserve to be in the Straw Hats.
Carrot!
Carrot. Oh my
Stop.
god, Carrot becoming
It's
Straw
the same
Hat.
thing. It's the same thing with Dressrosa. What was his name? The annoying guy who had the teleport double
Bellamy.
fruit. Bellamy.
Uh,
Ugh. Don't remind me. I really hated that guy.
Rebecca joins the Straw Hat.
But
No.
Bartolomeo.
Monette magically gets revived and joins the Straw Hats.
Caesar Clown joins the Straw Hat.
Arlong joins the
Honestly,
Straw
I mean,
Hats.
he's around them enough. I'm surprised he hasn't already.
Watch, Bon Clay will join the Straw Hats. That way they get both a male and a female to join. Get it?
There we go. Hey.
Ooh, breaking the system.
Anyway,
there.
but yeah, so we going on to Wano? I mean, we can't talk about Wano Country because it hasn't happened, but that's next, I guess.
Yep, we still gotta
What
see,
they're doing.
which I know in the end of this story arc, they're not gonna defeat Big Mom. Yeah, I think this is
Oh,
just...
yeah.
I think this arc
Oh,
is
definitely
really just a
not.
big introduction to the power and the strength that a warlord, king...
Yeah, because
You know-
at first I was like, okay, whole cake, they're gonna take out Big Mom and go to Wano Country, take out Kaido, but now I'm like, ooh, probably not.
No, especially when we get introductions to really cool characters, which I fucking hate it for the life of me. What's his name?
I mean,
He's the guy who
when-
has the 1 billion, like the 1.2 billion berry bounty.
Jack.
No, not him. Not Jack.
Oh,
Big
the
Mom's son.
yeah. Frick, I forgot his name.
God, that's
That guy.
gonna kill me. Because he's really cool. I mean, he's very mysterious. I would like to learn more about his
The
character.
guy who Luffy fights but fails.
Yeah, for like a second, and
Like
then
at the
Luffy
end.
can't beat him.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, like Luffy can't even beat him, right? So
but he's the main guy. He's like the second general or something like that, or first general.
yeah,
Katakuri.
Yeah, there we
I
go,
just looked him
Katakuri.
up.
yeah.
He's a cool dude. I like him.
Hmm.
But yeah,
He's a real cool cat.
Cake Island. It's about Cake and Sanji's wonderful family and a really hot sister. But yeah, anyways. Holy shit. Yeah, no. Sanji's got a good looking sister.
I just want them to change the spines on the
Yeah,
English
oh.
releases because I'm tired of New World.
know,
because
that's so dumb.
I mean, we're about to.
I mean, that's like if they called like Baroque works to Paramount War Grand Line. Like,
The red line.
It's just like
oh yeah,
yeah, it's just like I feel like that after Whole Cake Island ends, they're actually because there is an official name for like what we're in right now. It's like Versus 4 Emperors arc.
but I mean that's
And
been
it's
going
like-
for a while. Oh, so maybe they'll change
Yeah,
it to
y-
something else.
Because
hope
I
they
feel
do.
like that after that they get off of Whole Cake Island, it's gonna like escalate into them actually going after like the 4 Emperors are actually gonna have a key feature and to the end of
So
One
going
Piece.
into speculation
Makes sense.
territory, do you guys think One Piece is going to have one more time skip?
Mm,
I mean, now that I haven't really thought about it, but now that you mention it, I mean, like at this point, there's no way they can take on the Emperors.
I feel
So-
at the current strength Luffy's at right now, there has to be some form of development. Like maybe we're going to see a climax to his hockey training. Maybe both him,
Right.
Zoro, and once Sanji gets back into the picture, maybe we'll see maybe some more hockey training. But at the current level in the state, I mean, like the 4 Emperors are the people that are as close to finding the One Piece as anyone else would be in the current generation.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, Captain Kidd, he got screwed over. I mean, he's basically got one shot. But, with characters like Blackbeard and other foes that are going to come along later on, I mean, Blackbeard is only continuing to get stronger and stronger. And then with the strength of Big Mom's, army, as well as all of her children that are OP ridiculously. Yeah, I don't know. I feel One Piece is going to probably undergo maybe one more time skip before all these guys are kind of properly, strength,
Yeah.
I feel like that it'll be a time skip not separately but as a group.
Right.
And like they'll actually be together training instead of being apart.
And it might not be like maybe they could even just speed up the flow of time.
Possibly.
Because like most of the One Piece story arcs take place in like a couple
And
of
you
days.
know,
or
you know what?
something.
I am waiting that Zoro and Mihawk rematch that we have all been waiting for.
Oh.
Just how good that's
Oh,
gonna
it's
be.
gonna be incredible.
We're gonna get some good flashbacks from East Blue.
Can we just like speaking of Zoro, has anybody like been bothered by like Tashigi being like really freaking similar to his childhood friend?
Yeah, there's like a whole
we just,
theory.
like,
There's
talk
like we're
about
getting into speculation theory. We're getting into bullshit territory. We're not gonna cross that line.
Like
They're gonna go to the moon.
Although actually,
Well,
what's
the
his
thing
face
with
went to the moon?
Eneru.
Enel or whatever his name was. I don't know what you call him. Eneru.
And
it's in Eneru in the manga.
Whatever. He was a cool guy. Just unfortunately got fucked over.
Maybe
by...
he'll come back and join the Straw Hats.
Yeah.
just unfortunately, he had to face rubber.
That's,
you know,
that's everyone's problem. You know, even for girls, you know, you gotta face the rubber sometime. You know. No one got that. You got it.
you're right.
No one got that joke. All right, moving on. Anyways,
Listen, we're here to talk about One Piece.
well,
We're
One
not-
Piece. What kind of
we're
One
not here
Piece?
for anything
is,
else.
You know?
One Piece of what?
Oh, my boy Gear knows what I'm talking about.
Hey.
Anyways,
Yeah.
I think we're gonna segue into the aftercast if we already haven't proven to do that. That's basically our conclusion to the One Piece storyline. There's going to be more and more continuing stories as we go on, and we might do another, One Piece Part 3, but for now I think we're going to do some closure to the whole 2-part segment that we were doing with it.
Mm-hmm.
Just because we want to see what stories, I guess, develop in the meantime. And I mean, with the way Oda is doing it now, I guess, he's making these story arcs super long.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm okay with. I would rather have smaller stories, but with, better substance than longer stories with decent parts and then not so decent
Some boring
parts.
stuff, yeah.
So.
You mean shorter stories like Zoe?
Or shorter stories like the Davy Back
That's
fight.
the Foxy Pirate arc, which is shamelessly
Foxy-
plugged into the Water 7 arc, which I would have to say Water 7 has the worst beginning of any One Piece story arc because it starts with that piece of shit fight.
Anyway, Aftercast.
Yeah. Aftercast, guys. So, Taz left the podcast.
Yeah, what up, Taz? Where'd you go?
Where did Taz go? Where in the world is Taz?
Oh no,
God, not this again.
he just left.
Well, I mean, to be fair, he did just kind of leave.
Yeah.
I talked to him the other day. I went into his Discord server. I mean, he's doing well, I guess. He asked about Manga Alert. He was wondering what we were doing. So.
Huh. Weird.
Didn't somebody want to revive manga,
Nation?
Manga Nation?
Where in the world is the Epic, guys? We did a bit like this before, and
Well, it was Where in the World is
2 episodes
JB,
ago.
and I just put Epic Guys there. Yeah. Poor guy.
He was there. He was there. Rest in peace, the Epic guy.
Maybe he'll come back one day. Maybe he's Epic Guys is having a time skip right now. He'll be back.
Yeah, he's on a 2-year time skip. He's gonna come back more mature,
Stronger, better,
stronger,
He'll
gonna
have a
look
scar
weird,
on his eye,
different skin
and
tone.
His skin will be lighter.
and true legends are unbreakable. So
He'll comb his hair differently.
So let the voice of love take you higher.
Man,
Which reminds me, we have yet to do a JoJo cast.
oh yeah. How would
That'll
we
be
do that?
something
Would we
that
do
have to
like?
do in
Would we do the whole thing, or would we just
Part
do
8? JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Manga Alert, Episode 18, Part
We
8.
just do an entire season that's all JoJo.
That would be like a 5-hour episode.
Shrug, have you read any JoJo yet?
I've seen the memes. I've read one volume. I've got one. I finally got it, guys.
He's a JoJo hater. Get him out of here.
Oh man.
More or less recently, I'm going to start collecting the Vagabond singles, which I don't know why I'm doing it, just because the series got canceled, so
is that it? Is it just over now?
yeah, the author basically said, well, okay, so here's the thing. Vagabond was based on a book called Musashi, which is like,
Right.
I guess it's based on a true story, and that actually does have an ending. So the manga is following the book. So
Oh.
if you want to find out what the ending is
So,
to Vagabond, you just
okay.
read that. But
So that's actually
The-
that's not as bad because I was I've always wanted to get Vagabond, but once I heard that it was canceled or ended, I was like, oh well, shit. There's no ending. What do I do?
Yeah, there is an
Yeah.
ending. It's just the manga
So-
won't have, it's not drawn,
Right.
and it's not a drawn ending.
So that's not actually as
but the-
bad as I thought. So.
But the creator basically said that he's getting too old and that he
Right.
wants to retire or move on to different projects. So that's fair
That's
enough.
understandable,
With a series being that long, I guess you can only
yeah.
understand or concede to his wishes.
Mm-hmm.
But I am going to be collecting the singles. I'm going out of my way to find the out of print single volumes with the amazing artwork that he has on the front covers. And I mean, some of these volumes are just ridiculously out of print and overpriced. I mean, $50, $100 per volume. I mean, it's gonna be rough. But
Well, I mean, that's like the normal volumes in Canada, so it's no big deal.
Yeah, well, no, it was funny because Vagabond was one of the first series that Viz had printed in the States. And so I was looking at the pricing, and they're really nice quality. It's like the Viz Signature quality,
Right.
before Viz Signature, and it was like it said $7.95 in the U.S. and then $16.95 in Canada. I was like, that is such a huge
What?
That is like such a huge price gap. Like I can't imagine like anyone paying that amount of money for the vault for just one volume. $16.95. That's crazy. So.
You know what's crazy? Paying like almost $20 for Tokyo Ghoul.
$20 for what, a Tokyo Ghoul volume?
Yeah. Well, it's like.
Oh, yeah,
18, but, yeah.
Is Tokyo Ghoul being released soon?
I think actually it might be this month when it starts releasing.
I'm not getting it. I'm tired of collecting Tokyo Ghoul, guys. I finally finished it. I haven't started reading it. I ain't doing
no?
it.
Yeah, I'm not a big Tokyo Ghoul fan
Like,
either.
I-
The fan base sort of did it
Yeah,
in
yeah.
for
It's the
me.
thing. I like Tokyo Ghoul, but I think it's really overrated. Like I read it and I was like, okay, it's good, but like, what's the deal?
It's the next big Death Note,
It's like when I read Claymore, because like
Edgy.
people like Apollo.
Yeah, you know what?
You have people
I'm
like
reluctant.
Apollo, who's like all of his Claymore volumes are all stuck
I'm
together
reluctant.
because he likes
I'm
it so
reluctant
much.
to get into Claymore. I don't know why it is, but the fans are just so hardcore about it.
I know, but like now, I still think it's a good series, but like it's just good. I mean, it has great art
Yeah.
and fight scenes, but like the characters are like,
It's by no mean a long series, so
Yeah, no.
it's like what 31 volumes,
27.
something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, so see, shorter than that.
Yeah,
So.
and it has a box set, so it's easy to get.
Cheap.
Mhm.
Which reminds me, we probably need to do a Manga Alert episode on box sets and collecting guides, maybe. Just thinking
Yeah.
about maybe something like that. Being that manga is just super expensive, I mean, I've found a good chunk of my Blade of the Immortal singles at a used bookstore, and I found, like, I think volumes 1 through 10 for, like, $10.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
like-
and those are all out-of-print volumes that are going for pretty crazy prices online.
No,
so.
yeah. If you know where to look and you get lucky, then you can get a lot of manga for cheap. Like most of my One Piece volumes, I got for just super cheap because right place, right time. I found someone who was selling all of them.
Yeah, I did the dumb misfortune of like collecting One Piece on the tail end of the original first prints. So they were starting to print the original 1 through 22 or 23 volumes in the East Blue and the Baroque work subtext on the side.
Mhm.
So my covers are basically inconsistent. So I still have the gold lettering that the old volumes have, and then also the East Blue. Like I have 2 volumes with East Blue mixed in, so it's like all gold and then East Blue.
Oh, that's like Berserk. Oh my god! Like they just started reprinting Berserk or something. So my first 4 volumes have a different spine from the other ones I have.
And guess what, guys?
I,
Berserk is out of print once again.
What?
No
Yeah, volume
way.
33 on Amazon is $69.
Jesus Christ!
Oh man. I got for $5 each. I got the first 6 volumes of Berserk from a
that's
used
really
bookstore,
good.
and they're in like really good quality. So I was all like, well, I have some extra cash.
Yeah,
so
Berserk was one of the hardest
I'll
series to
get 'em.
collect for, and I was gonna do it with Gantz, but I can't do it with Gantz because it's like volumes. They're 37 volumes, and like volume 9 is like $150.
Yeah.
I'm like, nope.
The okay, so the next I have Berserk volume 9 and 10 in my cart, and those are still available for normal price. So Hopefully they stay that way. But I don't know. I don't know if how much Berserk I'm gonna collect because like I want to get the Golden Age arc for now, and then I might just stop for a little while.
Yeah, same.
Man, you guys have not been caught up with Berserk. Berserk is a really good.
Oh.
It used to be my favorite. It's like I think second favorite, but it's really good. It's a good series.
Listen, right now I'm going to collect all of Soul Eater. I've been procrastinating on buying it for like ever since I started collecting manga, and I really just want to get there.
Yeah.
I'm at volume 6 right now, so I just gotta wait until
I think
I get
Soul Eater
money.
was the first series I completed, excluding Full Metal Alchemist, but that doesn't count because that was a box set and I cheated.
Zombie Powder was the first series I ever
Shut up,
completed.
that's like 2 volumes.
It's 4 volumes. Get it right.
Zombie
Yeah,
Powder?
it's you know Tadakubo, right? Bleach.
Oh, yeah.
So that was the series he worked on before Bleach.
Oh boy.
So it hasn't aged very well. It's this very early. It's like I think it's worse than early volumes 1 through 5 of Bleach artwork, if you remember.
Yeah. Shaman, when are you gonna hop on that Moggy bandwagon?
Never, because I don't like it.
Yeah, you do.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah, I know. He doesn't like Moggy. What is wrong
Don't
with
like
him?
it. It just like the main character like makes me want to turn away and kill myself. I
But he's
don't
just,
like
he's
it.
just a little kid.
Yeah, I don't like little kid protagonists. You know,
Did you
I'm
read
more of a
Listen now.
seinen guy.
Listen now.
Did
I'm
you
a
read the
seinen-
Balbad arc?
I am a seinen man. I mean,
You didn't
I
even-
grew up.
you-
I grew up with these shonen series, and you have to understand this. These shonen series are dedicated to a younger audience.
But
I can't
Moggy is like
connect.
the best one.
I can't connect with someone that I did not know or learn about when I was like, okay, let's take a series like Shaman King when half the characters are like 13 or 14 in the beginning of the series. That series came out like what, 10, 15, maybe even longer. 18, 20 years ago. Like I connect
Well, I mean,
more with Shaman King than I do.
Alibaba's like 17,
Okay,
18.
fuck Alibaba. Go watch Aladdin. Go watch Aladdin, where you can see Prince Ali Alibaba. Okay, the true story of Maggie lies in Aladdin, which was done like what, 20 years ago.
Oh my god. I kind of want to just make a meme video with Aladdin with
Alibaba.
Moggy.
Alibaba.
characters.
Well, it's already too late.
Alibaba.
It's already too late because in Future Diary you already used the
Oh,
joke
right.
for the meme. I can show you the world.
Yeah, the third world or whatever. Oh man.
Yep. The world.
I think we're all missing the major shonen right here. The fact that I'm all caught up with Black Clover. Ah!
Yeah.
Believe it.
Listen, I started I bought the first volume of Black Clover. I got it for $2 on sale, like when it first released, and so I was all like, "Oh, okay, Shonen Jump. I've heard about it. I've just heard the name Black Clover. Maybe it's good. Look it up. It's third ranked in popularity or something. It's like really high up there in popularity, and so I have all 8 volumes right now."
Black Clover, more like Platinum End My Suffering, but it
Hey.
gotta edit that sound effect in here.
There we go.
Alright.
Alright, we've been going for an hour now, I think. I think we're good.
We can go for like another 2 hours, I guess. Yeah, is that okay,
Yeah,
guys?
I mean,
2 hours?
I only have to wake up early in the morning for school.
Oh yeah, same. I got work too tomorrow.
Mm. I get to draw
Well,
pictures all day.
Rest in peace, Taz. You will be missed on the Manga Alert podcast. Hopefully we can get JB or maybe somebody else onto the
Yeah,
podcast.
season finale next time, everyone.
By the way, guys,
Whoa.
the long-awaited season finale, we're going to be trying to get all of our guests from the previous Manga Alert, which is why I shrug. We invite you to the season finale of the Manga Alert podcast. Where we'll be talking about
Surprise.
the best. We're gonna hold the anticipation. We're not gonna reveal what we're gonna be talking about for episode 12. We're gonna leave it a surprise.
Barrage.
Yes. Anyways, thank you guys for joining us once again for the Manga Alert podcast, our final part 2 conclusion to One Piece, if anyone cared about that. Have an awesome day, guys. Remember, check out our Discord, Subscribe to good quality content, not fake news gear. Anyways, have a good day. Peace out.
Yeah, see ya.
Bye.